water, earth, fire, air. Long ago, the four nations lived together in harmony. Then, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar, master of all four elements, could stop them. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years passed and my brother and I discovered the new Avatar, an airbender named
Pokey. Hello everyone, I'm sure you probably heard of the game Terraria before. Well, today I'll be facing its hardest challenge, the Infernum Mode, and I'm limiting myself to only using 3 melee, or in other words, poking. All the mods I'll be using will be in the description. First things first, I'll be making a new character, and of course I'll creatively aim at Pokey, then I'll spam randomize until I find something I like. Tree Pokey fits the world's name. I'm on expert mode because master mode isn't compatible with the mods I'm using. With a fresh character and world, I went looting. I opened up my starter bag and received our first 3 melee weapon, a copper sword. I then put all my weapons into the trash as they go against the challenge. I travelled to the right of the world and found the Evo bombers right beside spawn, which will affect our future house building. So I decided it was smart to abandon this world and make a new one. I spawned into a new world again, and the first thing I did was cut down some trees, just like in every other pixel blocky game. I then dug up some iron and flattened the land a bit. After travelling to the right of the world for some time, I found a hole that all Terrarians know as the Enchanted Sword Shrine. I decided to climb down to check it out, but to my surprise it was a Dragon Ball Z statue, and it contained a chi thingy, but it proved to be completely useless though. I then went mining, gathering ores and looting chests. Besides from that rocky start, this run seems to be going well, right? I guess I spoke too soon then. It's time to cash in all of that suffering to start working on our starter base. First I organize my inventory, then I wish I still had my money. Then I attempt to retrieve it. Finally I managed to get it and teleport home. This challenge is so fun right now. I put my money in the chest for safekeeping and craft a workbench and furnace. I smelted all of my ores to make a whopping 13 bars. After this realization that I'm still a brokey, I decided I need some homies. Because I'm lazy, I'm using a mod that builds houses for you, but you need lots of wood. After making an anvil, I made the item. Alright, look, I know it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but don't worry, if you show this video some love, I'll show this base some love as well. I scouted the map and went back to the mines to find my first life crystal. Let's go, I'm winning. I need some armor desperately. I gathered some platinum, which will allow us to craft the strongest armor set for now. I also found more life crystals, which will hopefully stop me from dying as much. Okay, jokes aside, I crafted a top, a platinum crown, a new pickaxe and an accessory that'll help me dig faster. I started to dig straight down underneath my base to find more life crystals, platinum and pave the way to hell for later. Having almost been murdered again, I came back to the base and made the rest of the armor set. Feeling stronger than ever, it's time to get the only decent 3 melee weapon available, the Blade of Grass. Off to the jungle for our next adventure to get the ingredients for the sword and other useful accessories. We find a massive spooky tree and decide to descend it. Carefully watching my step, I place the torch to see that we are surrounded by honey. I reach the end of the tree and fall down. Is this the end? Have I wasted 20 minutes coming down here? Oh no, honey to the rescue. I dive deep into the honey, fighting off angry bees and building air pockets to survive. 2 heart clutch by the way. After finally making it to the underground jungle, I collect 2 jungle spores and check the recipe. I need 15 spores found on the ground, 12 stingers dropped by spiked monsters, and 3 vines dropped by man-eaters. I find the jungle chest which contains a cloud in a bottle and a gravitation potion. This will be very useful later on to try and find wings. In another chest I find the anklet of wind, which makes me faster. After harvesting some more jungle spores and other goodies, I decided to go home to sort out my storage. For this run, I'll be using the magical storage, which are basically just better chests. First I made the storage heart, then the crafting interface, as well as some storage units. I then placed it all on the ground to make it look decent. Then moved all my stuff inside and finally expanded it. Looks nice and clean to me. But it's time to take to the skies with that gravity potion from earlier. I'm looking for sky islands and mini planets as they contain life crystals, ores and accessories. I gained 4 life crystals and a red balloon, which increases jump height. After all this prep and almost 3 hours in, it's time to fight the first boss. First I'll need an arena. I'll be using the ever so useful arena builder as it saves me so much time. I'll place it to the left and to the right. It's about 300 tiles in each direction. I then decided to terraform the land by cutting the trees and flattening the ground. Good enough. Now it's time to craft the boss summon using that platinum crown from earlier. We also need to go to the evil biome for the special crafting table. Having entered the entrance, we adventured down the hole until we found the crafting table. We made it, then swiftly went home. We summoned the boss as a trial attempt, and I'll let the footage speak for itself. First of many indeed. For those who noticed, I wasn't using a true melee weapon, and I asked for you to let this slide as it was just a trial. Besides from that, I need more speed, so Hermes Boots is next on my craft list. After making some silk, I crafted Hermes Boots, and tried again for real this time, using a platinum sword. Having a very underwhelmingly sized sword, my fate was sealed from the very beginning. It looked like I was a baby trying to fight Mike Tyson or something. Yeah, I died, and I decided it's finally time to return to the jungle to finish what I started, crafting the Blade of Grass. Having gotten the last thing I needed, I returned home and crafted the beautiful Blade of Grass. Oh no, this can't be! It shoots projectiles, so it isn't under true melee. During my crisis, a goblin army invaded. Whilst I was killing the last goblins, I thought to myself, how this challenge is impossible as the new Terraria update made the sword smaller. Having searched the mod browser for anything, I moved on to the wiki, but both had no results. I even searched YouTube, but it showed the old Terraria where the weapons were much larger. I said screw it and decided to try again, however I still died before the boss reached half health. I tried again, trying my best, and got it to half health. At this point, having searched for answers for hours, I gave up on this run for a bit. I came back after a day or two and decided to try and fight another boss, the Big Eye, which is the third boss. However, since this is a boss you're meant to fight later on, it went as well as you'd expect. I decided to go to the desert to find a new melee weapon. Unfortunately, the range made this weapon very mediocre. I built an arena in the desert to fight the second boss, the Big Snake, and it went so badly I had to leave the game. Having came back to my senses, I decided to keep on fighting Slimy Boy. On my best run so far, a fallen star hit the boss and almost killed him, but sadly I couldn't clutch up. After several hours of practice, I finally got this run against the Big Snake. Sky turning crimson red due to an event, I know it's time to claim my first victory. Feeling hyped after my first victory, I attempted and failed the Big Eye again. I then farmed the monsters to get the Shark Tooth Necklace accessory. Using the materials from the Big Snake, I made a new armor set. I replaced it with my platinum armor, but it turns out to be slightly worse and only useful underwater. After finally getting the starter wings, I decided to take on the Big Eye again, but failed. However, we are getting closer. I forgot to mention that some bosses have to be spawned at certain times and the Big Eye can only be fought at night. So as it's turning day, we move on to the fourth boss, the Big Crab. The crab can only be fought in an underground blue biome. I start digging out an arena, and to my surprise I found the Goblin Tinkerer, which is a very useful NPC as he allows you to combine accessories. I fight the crab and lose horribly. At base I can upgrade my boots due to the goblin. I make Spectre boots, then lightning boots, which increases my speed and flight time. Turning night, it's time to fight the Eye again, but this time I have a good feeling about it. With the Eye being defeated, we can finally toss our semi-true melee weapon away and start using the Teardrop, and also equip the ever so useful Shield of Cthulhu, which grants us a dash. We go to the very left of our world to complete an acid rain event. It took like 20 minutes to complete and has nothing cool to talk about. We then go on to fight the Big Crab again, and I have to say it was a horrible fight. Not that it was necessarily difficult, but it was just that one mistake is all it took to die. I also decided to swap armor for the extra movement speed. This is sped up 10 times. It was deadass a 10-minute fight. The boss having over 10,000 health and my weapon doing 15 damage made it so long. Sadly, there were no useful drops, but it did fuel my ego into fighting the big brain. You could almost say I became an egoist. The battle starts and I realized that the boss already lost 4k health, but I ain't complaining. After some terrible gaming skills, I died pretty quickly. But that was a test run, and now feeling confident, I buff up and prepare for round 2. Having defeated our first evil biome boss, I can now say we have entered a new chapter, Chapter 1, The Rise of the Molten King. It's a pretty trash name, but we get access to hell stuff, so I think it fits alright. Using our newly acquired Crimtane and tissue samples, we create the Deathbringer pickaxe, which allows us to mine hellstone and obsidian. Taking an obsidian skin potion, we take to the underground to mine obsidian. We finish off the elevator and dive into the lava in order to mine the hellstone. On our swim, we find a molten forge, which is required to make molten stuff. Back at base, we make our bars. We then make the helmet, chestplate and boots and armor up. We then make the sword, but yet again the terrible range makes this weapon virtually useless. Scouting out the next boss, we see that the next weapon we can get is a sausage maker. On our way to challenge it, we admire our new armor set and confidently rush into battle. I said rush into battle, yet now it's nighttime and I'm wearing a snorkel. All I can say is that I did a little side quest to upgrade my potions. But let's not worry about that. By destroying this fleshy thing we summon the boss, and we surely get absolutely destroyed. Cue the death montage. Wait. First, let's reforge our stuff to the best modifiers. Oh nope, I'm broke. Do you know who normally has lots of money? Kings. Let's get our revenge on King Slime. An intense fight occurs between an overpowered main character and the very first boss. This fight isn't really worth showing, but just know I killed it twice for good measure. There we go. Alright, cue the death montage now. Haha, I got you again. I only died twice. I hope you enjoyed this pretty cool fight. After reforging, we now equip our new accessory that gives us increased true melee damage. Then we craft our new weapon, reforge it and test it on arrival. It has some insane damage, but yet again, I think the range will make it tough to use. We make our way to the old man's dungeon, sus, and build our arena to fight the big bones. We then mine some new sky ores unlocked from the previous boss so we can make new wings and our most powerful sword yet. But instead of upgrading first then fighting, I decided to fight first and it went as well as you would expect. We then foolishly fight him again right away, killing all of our homies and us. Having learned my lesson, nope, never mind, I did it again. After getting enough sense boned into me, pause, sus. I make the new wings and the new weapon. The sword says it's broken, but it means that in a good way, as it will carry us for the rest of the video. The sword has two different modes you can switch between. One high damage but short range, and another lower damage but longer range. Alright, let the big bones fight commence. The big bones became the one getting boned. Sus. He doesn't drop anything useful, but he unlocks the dungeon for exploration. We are mainly looking for one sword in particular, the Merisama. We now combine 3 other swords to make the legendary Knight's Edge. Oh, I forgot. There's one more boss I need to defeat before I can make it. Big Slime, or in other words, Slime God. Now I will say for real this time, cue the fail montage, as this is the worst boss I've fought so far. First time I thought he was invisible, so I restarted. Second time he despawned somehow. Third time I died because I was staying closer to the boss so it does not despawn. And again, and again, and again, and again. Insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results. Am I insane then? I decided to change my strategy and buy a counter scarf. This allows you to dash and be fully immune and prevent this from happening. With my new scarf on my neck, let's do it. With the final boss before the Wall of Flesh defeated, it is time to become as strong as possible. We finally create the Knight's Edge. It has decent range, but the broken blade we're using right now is still better. Before the final boss, we can do some side quests to fill up our boss and event log. First event is the Old One's Army. It's like a tower defense thingy, but it's quite boring so I'll skip it. With that done, we have 6 more bosses / events left. The Purple Brain, also known as the Hive Mind, is the evil boss for the other biome. To fight it, we have to travel to a sky island in space. This boss is also very easy as we were meant to fight it ages ago. We then take on its long worm, which I killed in seconds. Sus. We then go underground to summon the Torch God by placing 100 torches. It's just dodge for 2 minutes, which was pretty easy. With that done, it's time to fight the underwater boss unlocked from the desert worm. We killed this boss so fast I can show you the entire fight. We almost died, but we didn't, so I guess I'm just better. Every boss and event is ticked off but the Big Bee, Dareclops and Wall of Flesh. The Bee is first. After building my arena, I smashed the larva, and the Bee soon after. Sus. The Dare had the same fate as I proceeded to stay on its head and melt its health with the overpowered broken blade. Now, the final boss, the Wall of Flesh. We first ascend to Hell, as that's where we summon this demon. With my platforms built, I'm ready to defeat the final boss of pre-hard mode. Having done like 5 other bosses first try, this should be easy, right? Oof. Well, what did you expect? Well, second time is a charm then. The last boss of Terraria's hardest difficulty done in seconds is a bit disappointing, but what can I do? That's 100% of pre-hard mode Calamity Infernum done with only true melee. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe and comment. Look out for part 2 and thank you for watching.